back your homes, or restore your dead to life.
But perhaps I can give you justice in the name of our king.
Game of Thrones has too many secrets, prophecies, and specific details on lore that make up the context behind our favorite plot lines in the story. I mean, with each novel of A Song of Ice and Fire being the thickness of 3 or 4 regular books, you can assume there are plenty of details to keep you entertained. Well, reflecting back on some of my favorite parts about the series, I've remembered one very interesting place that is just great to talk about: the Night Fort. The Night Fort is the oldest castle in the Night's Watch, going back to the time the wall was built. At the time, the Watch was full of sworn brothers needing a place to live. The Night Fort was that place, and it would go on to be the stronghold for the Watch and even be used as the seat of the Night's King. Let me explain. In the books, we have heard the legends of the Night's King, history as told in books written by maesters. The Night's King was just a man. More specifically, he was the 13th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. He fell in love with a woman that had white, cold skin and blue eyes, presumably a White Walker, unless you ask a maester. Anyway, the Lord Commander brought his new love to the Night Fort and declared himself as Night's King. He took the Night Fort as his own personal castle and ruled there alongside his icy White Queen of the North for 13 years. During that time, he performed sacrifices to please the others, known just as White Walkers in the novels. Brothers of the Watch were sacrificed through sick rituals, and it did not stop until the King Beyond the Wall, named Joramun, and the King of Winter, Brandon Stark, united to defeat the Night's King. They were successful and freed the Watch from the evil that was the former Lord Commander. Fast forward to just about 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones takes place. The Watch didn't have enough men to sustain the Night Fort, since it was very large and had been expanded on over thousands of years. A smaller castle would be easier to manage, not to mention how old the fort was. A Targaryen queen spent some time at the wall and convinced her king husband to fund a new, smaller castle that would be easier for the Watch to maintain. Ever since then, it's been abandoned, except for recent events which led to Lord Commander Jon Snow sending builders to the Night Fort to repair the castle and make it habitable. When Stannis came to Castle Black, Jon Snow authorized Stannis' men to take shelter at the Night Fort, even though compared to Castle Black, it is dark and ghostly. It's hard to imagine a fortress that has more ghost stories attributed to it than the Night Fort. In the Game of Thrones Histories and Lore special features, there's a segment about the Night Fort, and Samuel Tarly narrates how there are numerous legends, some true and some stretched, about the ancient stronghold. One of the true facts about it is a hidden entrance that leads out to north of the wall. It is known as the Black Gate, a barrier made of white weirwood with a face on it. Now, that doesn't sound too interesting, given the fact that weirwood trees are very real in Westeros, at least what's left of the weirwoods. But this gate is peculiar. It speaks. A person requesting access through the tunnel beyond the gate is asked one simple question: who are you? The Black Brother responding recites a part of the Watch's oath and then is granted entry. The weirwood responds, then pass. I've always really enjoyed that detail about the Night Fort. Another, more likely false fact about the Night Fort is the story of the Rat Cook. If you haven't heard this one, then you are in for a treat. At some point in the Watch's history, an Andal king comes to visit the fort. A simple cook that worked in the kitchens felt as if he personally had been wronged in some way by the king. So the cook decided to kill the king's son, who was also a guest at the Night Fort. This led to the cook preparing a special bacon pie for the Andal king. The pie was made of the king's son, though he of course did not know what he was truly eating. The gods were upset, to say the least. Legend says that the gods were upset because the man killed a guest when instead hosts should put their visitors first and never betray them. The gods transformed the cook into a white rat, doomed to feed on his own offspring for eternity. It is said that the rat cook is still alive and running around the ruins of the once legendary Night Fort. This story is known all around Westeros and is sang in songs, so that children and others can learn and understand the importance of being kind to their guests. The story could be one of make-believe to encourage young lords and ladies to honor and respect their company, or it could be true. Let me know what you think. There are tales of a young girl who posed as a boy so she could serve at the wall. The girl was then later raped and murdered at the Night Fort. And finally, a story of forgetting your honor. 79 sworn brothers fled from their posts and took up shelter with the father of one of the watch's deserters. They were subsequently turned in and sent back to the Night Fort, where they were buried alive in the structure of the wall, so that they could never leave their posts again. The Night Fort is said to hold one of the greatest secrets of the Watch. With all of its colorful history, one could imagine the secrets it may hold, and maybe information about White Walkers that has been lost to the ruins of the abandoned castle. As always, thanks for watching. If you want to check out more videos like this, make sure you subscribe and mark the notification bell beside it. And for anyone who doesn't see a bell, go to my channel's homepage and find the bell in the upper right hand side. Alright guys, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.